Welcome everybody to all my woke fans out there. It's Scott here from Woke Societies, here to drop another episode. I need to come up with a better name for my subscribers, for all my followers. I don't know what I want to call you guys. Woke people, woke friends. I need a good name. So if you guys have any good names that you'd want to call yourselves, people that follow me and all my fans out there, we're up to 86 subscribers, by the way, which is awesome. I'm trying to hit that 100 subscriber number by the end of the month, so hopefully I'll hit it. Looks like we're going to be there. But wanted to drop this video, guys, before tomorrow's big day. As we all know, Mueller is testifying before Congress. I don't know what time that is going down, but we're us in the QAnon community and a bunch of people, not just the Q community, but we're all expecting basically a movie at this point. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if Mueller is going to stick to his report or not. If he doesn't, he's going to get buried regardless by AG Barr. So I want to get these stories out before tomorrow hits, because tomorrow's going to be crazy. So what I have today for you is an ex-CIA agent who has pretty much called out the deep state for all, not just the Rothschilds, you know, the basic things that people know about them, and you know, just the evilness in this world in general. He goes into the deep stuff about the pedophilia stuff as well, that most people still don't realize is happening. We're going to talk about him. His name is Kevin Shipp. We're going to talk about an FBI agent that killed himself just, I think it was yesterday. And a very interesting story about him. He was looking into the Clinton Foundation. And the last thing I'm going to tie up, guys, you don't want to miss this, was this Army article that dropped yesterday about how they were doing exercises. It wasn't training, but they were actually doing, let's see real quick. They are conducting secret operations around DC. That was the word I was looking for. I'm going to go into that and tie some Q drops that are going to explain why this is happening and what I view as what's going to be coming down the pike any day now with mass arrest and how that's going to happen. So stick with me, guys. This is going to be a quick episode tonight, and I'm going to jump right into it. So, former CIA agent exposes the deep state. He described himself as the only CIA officer in history to publicly expose government illegal activity and cover up, and stand up against the state secrets privilege at great personal risk. In 2012, he wrote an expose on the CIA's abuse of government secrecy called From the Company of Shadows, which I'm going to get. Kevin Shipp held several positions in the CIA and had top security clearance. Since leaving the CIA, he has become a whistleblower about the corruption he saw there in other intelligence agencies. He believes the deep state is attempting a secret coup to take down President Trump, which we know is absolutely true. It's not. They definitely attempted it, and that's going to be covered tomorrow. He believes that the coup is treason, which it is. He made that claim and others in recent interview with Greg Hunter of USA Watchdog. Shipp thinks indictments will be coming down, maybe as soon as this year, a civil war that has been brewing for over 60 years. One side is composed of the dark left, the shadow government, the FBI, CIA, the NSA, the DNC, and members of Congress. He believes the Marxist movement controls the DNC. Progressive goals are Marxist goals. AOC. He says this is the first time since JFK that a president has confronted the shadow government. Trump is too kind to call it the swamp, he says. He would call it the sewer. Armed citizens are a key component to thwart them, he says. And the article continues. He says John Brennan, who Q has called out multiple times, former director of the CIA, is saying crazy things about Trump because he knows he is going to be indicted. The deep state is panicking. They know this is treason. Shipp says this is all the way up to Obama, and as long as Trump is in office, there's a chance Obama will be prosecuted. That's big, guys. Q has definitely called out Brennan before in multiple drops. He is fucked, to say it plainly, and we're all hoping for arrest at this point. These guys were, ex-presidents. These are high-level people, so we'll have to see what happens. But this is what an ex-CIA guy is talking about. Moving on. The people are going to take down the media when they realize how complicit the media has been in all this. He says MSNBC and CNN were seditious. However, it's difficult to bring charges against the press because of press protections. Instead, they'll take a huge advertising and financial hit. It could also mean the end of the Democratic Party. That would be awesome. They are now the home of every sick and twisted group. And right now, guys, if you live under a rock, you can see now the Democratic Party is being torn from the inside out. You have the far left, the AOC and the Squad, having far left views, the crazy left, and it's, and a lot of the Dems aren't on board with that, so they're having their own issues right now. But Shipp continues to say it's really a global conspiracy involving intelligence agencies from foreign countries. He calls Hillary Clinton the globalist princess. Shipp discusses how left-wing billionaire George Soros is also a globalist with Marxist views. He thinks if we get a globalist as a president after Trump, there can be an armed insurrection if they try to change the Constitution, which there absolutely would be. Soros is pushing for globalism. He's kind of a puppet of the Rothschilds, a globalist, powerful family who are heavily involved in the federal banking system. Shipp observes that the Federal Reserve is made up of foreign banks, it's not federal and has no reserves, and Trump's going after the Fed. When he gets elected again, 2020, that is definitely one of the things I know he's going to go after. He's going to go after the Fed and go back to the gold standard. And he continues to talk about the Clinton crime syndicates. He says the Clinton Foundation is one of the biggest criminal charity frauds in the history of the world. Shipp calls it the Clinton crime syndicate. He said Robert Mueller and James Comey were investigating it, and they dropped the investigation, which we all know. He recommends people check out the work of Charles Ortel for more information on the corruption of the Clinton Foundation. So guys, he keeps going and going. I have never heard of this man before. Mr. Kevin Shipp. The reason why I came across him yesterday is because he dropped a tweet, which I'm going to show you right here. Hit like a bomb. Like I obviously the first thing you go to is the pictures that he put in his tweet here. This is Madonna here, and I actually watched clips of this disturbing fucking concert she's in. There was so much Luciferian fucking symbolism in her show with children and weird shit with demons, and like I couldn't believe it. They're just throwing it in our faces and they're laughing at us. It's absolutely disgusting. But this is what Kevin Shipp had to say in his tweet. He dropped this, what was it, just yesterday. Pedophilia, child trafficking, Satan worship, bloodletting of children in plain view. And he drops a Bible verse from Revelations. But I say to you, the rest who are in Thyatira, who do not hold this teaching, who have not known the deep things of Satan, as they call them, I place no other burden on you. And here you go. You got pictures here. I don't know if I can make those bigger, but of Madonna and the weird devil things around her. And then you have this cake. I don't know if this was a child, but obviously you can tell it's a human being. And weird stuff, guys. Weird stuff. And then you have this weird ass picture here. You can read that for yourself. Very creepy, sick shit. But Kevin Shipp dropped this, and you can see here 10,000 fucking likes. Like this dude got a lot of attention, and I believe Q in one of their latest drops linked one of his tweets here. So it absolutely blew up here. So yeah, you have Kevin Shipp here talking about this in plain sight, calling the deep state out. So it's just more evidence, guys, that people are not afraid to be speaking up right now. This is the time that people are starting to really wake up, and they're going to see what's really going on in the world. But speaking of the Clinton Foundation, I'm going to go into the story here about this FBI agent who killed himself in the middle of a club in Texas. It says right here, FBI rocked by public suicide of top FBI agent who investigated Clinton Foundation. This is crazy, guys. FBI agents are mourning the death of one of the Bureau's top financial crimes supervisors who reportedly shot and killed himself on a crowded nightclub dance floor according to top FBI insiders. Salvatore Sal Cincinnati, a former Wall Street broker who joined the FBI in 2010, died last week during a night out after an FBI training session, sources said. Cincinnati was one of a supervisor special agent who spearheaded many of the FBI's high-profile and complex Wall Street investigations, including probing the finances of the Clinton Foundation. Clinton Foundation, ring a bell? After leaving his Wall Street career, Cincinnati was first assigned to the New York field office and later promoted to HQ in Washington, D.C. He was a native New Yorker as well. Very, very bright guy, one FBI insider said. Such a young guy. It really gets you in the gut. He put in the hours too, was always working hard. Now guys, this is where it gets a little weird. Cincinnati was 41. He was reportedly out partying with FBI colleagues at the Container Bar, a trendy watering hole in Austin, Texas. The group had been drinking and dancing, according to sources. Later in the evening, Cincinnati reportedly turned the gun on himself on a crowded dance floor. Bar owner Bridget Dunlap did not respond to phone calls seeking details on the incident. And here's where it gets weird. The FBI agents on site and police instructed witnesses to delete any video and photographs of the event and cleared out the bar, according to reports. Likewise, FBI officials instructed Austin police to not release any details of the death to the media, sources confirmed. Witnesses at the nightclub were also told to stay offline and keep quiet about the shooting. Why would they want everyone to keep quiet? The FBI has not commented on his death, and according to his resume, again, he was a supervisory special agent in the FBI's complex financial crimes unit, and he was looking into, the Clinton Foundation. So guys, I wanted to tie these two together because, again, Kevin Shipp calls out the Clinton Foundation the biggest fraud in world history. And it seems that anybody who gets too close to the Clintons that investigate that foundation, they end up dying. Suicide, mysterious death, something always happens. And when I read this, it says FBI officials instructed Austin police to not release any details and to stay offline and keep quiet. I don't know if that's because there was probably obviously a lot of agents that were close to him at that moment. So maybe they didn't want to get anything out. But nowadays, guys, nothing surprises me. What if he had come across something and, he just offed himself? Or maybe other agents were involved. I have no idea. This is just my speculation. It's just very weird. And honestly, guys, when I found the story, I could not find the story anywhere else besides True Pundit. And I just feel like this would be a story that would be all over the place. But again, mainstream media doesn't cover it. Anything related to having Hillary Clinton investigated does not make it here. So, just interesting story, guys, to keep an eye on. I'm going to see if this develops, but who knows. So, the big thing I wanted to get into tonight, to make this, again, hopefully a shorter video. Q had dropped yesterday, another drop, and it linked an article by Bloomberg. And everybody was freaking out about this. I was too, to be honest. It says, Army lets slip that it's conducting secret operation around D.C. Now let me read this to you guys. The Pentagon has revealed a few details about a secret Army mission that has Black Hawk helicopters flying missions over the Washington, D.C. area backed by active duty and reserve soldiers. Guys, this part right here, reserve soldiers, keep that in mind. We're going to go over this. We're going to get in deep here. The mysterious classified operation was disclosed when the Army asked Congress for approval to shift funds to provide an extra $1.55 million for aircraft maintenance, air crews, and travel in support of an emerging classified flight mission. It's part of $2.5 billion request this month to reprogram funds in the current fiscal year's budget to programs considered high priorities. Without additional funding, the Army will not be able to perform this classified mission, the Defense Department said. Soldiers from the Assault Helicopter Company and aviation maintenance units will be supporting the mission with 10 UH-60s and maintenance capabilities for 4 months, according to the document referring to Blackhawks. The money will also pay for a specialized sensitive compartmented information facility at Davison Army Airfield at Fort Belvoir, Virginia, just outside Washington. Army spokesman Wayne Hall declined an email to comment on some possibilities, including whether The mission involved protecting the White House. Was this a mission to protect the White House? Or other federal buildings, and whether it's making use of specialized commando units of the Pentagon's Joint Special Operations Command, guys, which includes the Army's Delta Unit and Navy's SEAL Team 6, which we all know were the infamous team that took out Osama bin Laden. Alright, so very interesting stuff, guys. So this had broke, Q had linked it, and you can see there was tons of videos, which I'm going to show you in a minute, of these Black Hawk helicopters flying over DC. And it's like, what is that for? And then this drops that the US Army asks for $1.5 million more for these emerging classified flight missions. Not only does it have active duty, but it also involves reserve soldiers, which include the Coast Guard. So, I did a little digging, went back to the Q map here, and I looked at 22 here, guys. Post 22. It says National Guard and Marines. And it reads, who controls the National Guard? Why was the National Guard recently activated in select cities within the U.S.? Can the National Guard work in coordination with the Marines? Do conditions need to be satisfied to authorize? Do conditions need to be satisfied to be authorized? That's important. What former president used the military to save the Republic, and what occurred exactly? Biggest drop to ever be provided on poll. Study and prepare. The masses tend to panic in such situations. No war, no civil unrest. Clean and swift. So guys, what I'm getting at here is that to have soldiers on the ground, especially in DC, you'd have to declare martial law, right? There'd have to be some national catastrophe or some kind of situation that would warrant that you'd have National Guard and Marines working together like that to be on the ground. Now, came across this tweet here by my man here, Methods, and he dropped continuation of the national emergency with respect to transnational criminal organizations. And the quote here is, which I'm going to pull up the press conference reading for you guys. It says, I am continuing, this is Trump, for 1 year of the national emergency with respect to transnational criminal organizations declared in Executive Order 1351. And when you click it, guys, this is what it reads. So this was back in 2011. On July 24th, by Executive Order 13581, the President declared a national emergency with respect to transnational criminal organizations pursuant to the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to deal with the unusual and extraordinary threat to national security, foreign policy, blah, blah, blah. The activities of significant transnational criminal organizations have reached such scope and gravity that they threaten the stability of international political and economic systems, talking about dangerous situations where they need to have this executive order pushed. But here we go, this is the most important part. On March 15th, 2019, by Executive Order 13863, I took additional steps to deal with the national emergency with respect to transnational criminal organizations in view of the evolution of these organizations as well as the increasing sophistication of their activities, which threaten international political and economic systems and pose a direct threat to the safety and welfare of the United States and its citizens. And guys, what they're talking about here are Epstein, anybody that's in politics that's related to him, any crime syndicate that involves human trafficking, drugs, guns, all this stuff, all these people in the swamp. This is who Trump's referring to right now. And given the ability of these organizations to derive revenue through widespread illegal conduct, including acts of violence and abuse that exhibit a wanton or disregard for human life, as well as many other crimes enriching and empowering these organizations. The activities of significant transnational criminal organizations continue to pose an unusual and extraordinary threat to national security, foreign policy, and the economy of the U.S. For these reasons, the national emergency declared in Executive Order 13581 of July 2011, under which additional steps were taken for March 15th, this past March, and the measures adopted to deal with that emergency must continue in effect beyond July 24, 2019. So guys, this is when this executive order here, March 15, 2019, it's ending July 24, 2019, which is tomorrow. Therefore, in accordance with Section 202D of the National Emergencies Act, I am continuing for 1 year The national emergency with respect to transnational criminal organizations declared in Executive Order 13581. This notice shall be published in the Federal Register and transmitted to the Congress. Donald J. Trump. So guys, this is what's happening. You need martial law to have soldiers on the field, or you need to have a national emergency declared. Well, there was one, and it's ending tomorrow. But look what Trump's doing here. I am continuing for 1 year the national emergency with respect to transnational criminal organizations declared in Executive Order 13581. Guys, this would bring it till next June, which will be right before the 2020 election, I believe. Yes. And he is going to drain the swamp right before, you know, the race to the 2020 begins. That's going to happen. And for this, because it's a national emergency, you could have National Guard, you could have Marines working together, and not only that, you could have the Army working together, and they're going to have complete control of DC. Now, Q says here, no war, no civil unrest, clean and swift. Guys, this is going to be a surgical operation declared on any of these politicians, anyone that's in the swamp, anybody, and all hell is going to rain down upon them. They're going to be arrested, and this is by military. This isn't police, this is military, guys. This is super important. And right here, Joe M tweeted, the transnational criminal organizations mentioned in yesterday's executive order to continue the state of emergency is the New World Order, the cabal. Trump is going after the New World Order, cabal, deep state, whatever you want to call it. The monolithic conspiracy that opposes us around the world. Patriots need this to authorize mass arrest on U.S. streets. And just some videos here, guys. This was just yesterday. That was one they saw. This was another one. Guys, this was happening over DC. They're planning something. And then you have this picture here. U.S. Army floods skies over Washington, D.C. on July 22nd, 2019 with heavily armored combat helicopters and show of force to protect President Donald Trump. Guys, there's a huge, massive operation going on right now, and it's panic. Absolute panic in D.C. And don't get me wrong, it says Army lets slip that it's conducting a secret operation. I don't think it was an accident. They let this slip out on purpose. They want these guys to panic, to make more mistakes, then you know, it's better to let them make more mistakes as far as the deep state than us going after them directly, you know, prematurely. But this is what I found, guys. I wanted to show you all this. This 1 year extension of this national emergency is going to give access to have military people around Trump, not only to protect him, but also have mass arrests of the swamp. And this 1 year, again, puts us to next July. And within a year, what I am thinking is that swamp is going to be completely drained. And not just in this country, you're going to have around the world. And guys, it's amazing times to be alive. It really, really is. So I wanted to show you guys that and get this video out there. If you like my content, please subscribe. I am trying to get to the 100 subscriber milestone, which I really think I'm going to hit by the end of the month. And share my content, tell all your friends about it, tell your family, let them know that this stuff's happening in the world. People need to wake up. They need to realize that, you know, the world's not as it seems, and that's all I'm trying to do. So have a good night, guys. Tomorrow is Mueller's big testimony. That is going to be a doozy of its own. I can't wait to see what this scumbag has to say. If he's going to go off of his actual report, or he's going to start going off, start, you know, stating things that weren't on the report, which you know, Trump and his people have told them, don't go off that report. And good things are coming, guys. So maybe I'll make another video tomorrow, depending on what happens. We'll see. I like to let things simmer a little bit When stories break, more details that way, but we'll see what happens. But until then, stay woke.